to Sell Your Body Pod. I'm Britt, and I'm here with my guest, DDT. How you doing?
I am wonderful. Am I actually selling my body? Because I didn't think I would be getting into sex work.
No, but actually, I mean, so Sell Your Body show started from just the idea that performers are always selling your body, but at any point, if you need consultation about an OnlyFans account, I am here to help.
What do you sell on OnlyFans? What do you in particular sell on your OnlyFans?
Nude videos, nude photos. I sell sex spells too, sometimes.
So you really be like naked in front of a cauldron? What's going on?
I like how you're interviewing me right now.
I know, that's always what happens to me. People are like, I'm an inquisitive person by nature, like especially when dealing with interesting people, I be needing to know.
Well, yeah, I do. I will be naked. Normally it's like a meditation. So like I do guided masturbations for people to like. I know it's kind of nerdy when I feel like so like a dork when I talk about it.
Well, no, it sounds like it sounds very much like sex surrogate work, kind of.
There is an element of it that definitely has like, and that's true about all cam work, is we are always dealing with people that are maybe a little traumatized or maybe a little disconnected from their sexuality, or maybe just have a sexual preference that wants not to have the body or can't have the body, like can't have the touch. And so there's some stuff going on with cam work that's kind of interesting about that.
I'm asking a lot because you know I might have an OnlyFans next week. You never know.
Well, I was listening to your special. You are probably one of the smartest people I've ever met in my entire life. I love how intelligent you are. I think you're an excellent joke writer, really, for real. And when we met on Koo's show, I kind of had this feeling like you were funny on the show, but I was like, you know, I bet she's really funny conversationally because she's very intelligent, but I would love to hear how her jokes come out, because sometimes that stuff can get kind of preachy and your jokes are just fucking funny. Like it was not as soapboxy as I like my perception, like probably just because I struggle with that. I was projecting. So like
I agree. I would hate to come off as preachy and soapboxy. I don't like that much either. You know, I'm not a fan of people who just kind of talk at you. It's very upsetting. So I'm glad that it came across that way. That I wasn't really, being, soapboxy. Like be funny,
Yeah, you might as well watch the news if you're gonna do that.
You know what I'm saying? Like just tell some jokes. But I'm glad that you liked it. When people tell me that I'm intelligent, I often laugh because I know myself alone and I know the dumb shit that I do on a daily basis. So if you're like, you're really smart, I'm like, oh bitch, you have no idea. You have no clue.
You are killing it with the facade then.
Boy, am I. Am I.
And what was the name of your special? Something millennial?
Yes, it's We're All Gonna Die, Practical Nihilism for the Millennial Black Woman.
I love it so much.
I wanted that to come off as intimidating as it sounds. I wanted only certain people to listen to it because you need to be scared away. If you're a certain type of person, you need to say, you know what, this isn't for me. Yeah, it's probably not.
Well, there is something that's kind of panicky about it, like the fact that we should all be panicking constantly. And you were actually saying when we did Koo's show together, shout out to Koo for being such a sweet boy, and his birthday just happened, so happy belated.
Happy birthday.
That it's very poignant for what's going on today in pop culture, and that you like, if I was listening to the special now and thinking like this could have been written like last week, because this shit has been going on for so long to an exhausting extent. So when you were writing that special, like what was happening in your life at that time? What made you want to record that set? Was it just like the general progression of your comedy?
I mean, yeah, I think I recorded it because I had this feeling it's like nobody is gonna do this for me. I'm not the type of comedian that people are gonna look at and be like, oh, you're the next big thing. I tell you what, it's not. And so understanding that, and because I barely even worked comedy clubs. Like comedy clubs, the establishment typically doesn't want to book somebody like me. as like a opener, maybe a feature. The only comedy club that I can recall that has actually booked me is Dallas Comedy House. That's the only actual comedy club. Like I do a lot of festivals and stuff, but as far as like booking clubs, I don't, because I'm gonna scare their whites, or I'm gonna make their whites be self-reflective. God forbid that they be the least bit introspective during dinner, and it's just. So I decided, I said, well, I'll just record my own. I can't wait around forever. And I thought the jokes were good enough. I felt like, you know, because the jokes that I was doing, I had been doing them maybe like a year and a half, maybe 2 years. And I said, you know what, I like these jokes. And I think as far as the comics that I know, if I was watching me as another comic, I would say you need to just make an album. So I said, okay, I'll do it myself.
I love that.
And true black woman fashion, fuck it, I'll do it. That's the motto, huh?
So what was the motto?
Fuck it, I'll do it. That's the black woman motto. We should all have a shirt.
Aww. It does speak to also the state of comedy clubs at this time. Like it's really representative of this rural. I mean, you're in the South as well, but just like this rural audience that doesn't really want any politics in their comedy, and when they get any politics in their comedy, it better be the politics they subscribe to. Which you don't really see that kind of audience member as much in an alt room, like as much. They're still there, but in a comedy club, I mean, look at the bookers. Like they're all the same color and the same political leaning. If they were able to buy a property that huge, like
they're usually white men, and they're either like they're either centrist or they lean right.
Mm-hmm.
So. And they lean right without even like wanting to copy. I'm not a political person, but as soon as there's something political, they get like, aren't you though? Aren't you a political person?
The centrist is like, I don't want anyone to find out that I'm on the right.
Right, exactly. I don't want anybody to find out how conservative I am. So I'm gonna just stick to the middle of the road. No, I'm saying, but yeah, I was just agreeing, like, especially in the South, like in Texas, which is where I started doing comedy, it's one of those things where, especially Dallas, I live in a corporate comedy city, I feel like.
Yeah, Dallas.
Or I used to. I started in a corporate comedy city. Like, it's just very, we just make us laugh. Talk about your kids. I don't have any children. Talk about your husband, not married. Boyfriend, wrong again. I don't have those things. Talk about your parents. I'd rather not put their business out there. So. It's like they want to hear stuff like that, and I don't have stuff like that. So,
so I want to hear. I'm like now. I'm just like roasting those kind of people in my head for like later sets when I'm in front of them. But I want to hear the origin story of you in stand-up. Like, were you a theater kid? Like, had you had any stage experience? When did you start? Why did you start?
I was a reluctant theater kid.
What's that like?
I was very much like, I'm not one of you, but I'm one of you. Because I'm from South Louisiana, I'm from home, and we didn't really have, like, we had our drama club, but I didn't really participate. I was just in it because I was like, this sounds like the closest thing that makes sense about what I like. But and I would take like creative dramatics classes and where we would do improv and stuff like that. So I did do that growing up, but I was like, I don't identify with any of you people. I could beat all of you up. That was just fun.
I love that being the metric of how well you can relate to your community is like how easy it is to beat all of them up.
Right, like at the same time. Like I feel like if you all jump me, I could literally whoop all your ass. So it was just hard to, I guess, reconcile that, because being a child of the hood, that was my environment. And then going into that type of really white type of world, for me, it was just like, yo way. So even though I've always been into movies, I've always been into comedy and all that other stuff, but actually being involved with people like that, it just always seemed like y'all lame as fuck, bro. I can't be dealing with y'all. So.
It's a very silly environment.
Yeah. A little too silly sometimes, but I got used to it eventually.
And then you grew up and you landed back on the stage at some comedy club or at some bar somewhere?
Well, I knew I wanted to do stand-up comedy when I was like 4 years old. That was the first thing I ever told my mom I wanted to do.
That is so cool.
But I didn't do it until I was like 26, 25. Because again, from South Louisiana, there is no comedy scene. I went to school in New Orleans, and in New Orleans, there wasn't a comedy scene. I think by the time I left, that was when La Nuit opened, or once I actually said, well, maybe I could try comedy since I've done college for all these years and just keep flunking out and I'm not interested at all. And I'm just going back because that's what my family is telling me that I'm supposed to do. Meanwhile, I'm racking up all this debt and I still don't have any direction. Like, it was just, I was at a point where it's like, well, bitch, you ain't got nothing else to do. You may as well just, you even want to do this anyway. So what else do you have going on that's pressing that will prevent you from doing it? So yeah, that's how. In San Antonio at LOL Comedy Club.
Wow. Were you living in San Antonio or you drifted in?
I lived in San Antonio for like 3 months.
You have lived all over. Dallas, Houston. Where are you going?
like I hate Texas so much, but it keeps me back. It seems to never be my choice to move. It's always just like I have to for one reason or another. It's never like, oh, well, I want to live in San Antonio. I never wanted to live in San Antonio in my life, and I will never live there again.
Why'd you go? Work?
No, I got fired from my job over some bullshit, and I had a chick who I used to work with at a strip club who moved there. She was like, oh, you could come just, see how you like it. You should be able to get a job quick, and I didn't, so I wound up leaving 3 months later, but I was brought there. The universe brought me there to do comedy because
just for that LOL Comedy Club moment, just like
exactly. And so I was there for like 2-3 months, and I actually started getting booked really, really quick. And I had to leave because I couldn't find a job, and I'm just not comfortable staying on somebody's couch forever and not contribute and all that other shit. So yeah, it was a pretty toxic environment, but nonetheless. So I left, and then that was 2011. 2012, I wound up right back in Dallas. Like, I had been unemployed for a long time, and I applied to one job in Dallas, and I got it. I said, well, okay. And I've been applying to jobs in Louisiana forever, 4 years, and couldn't find shit. I applied to one job in Dallas. I said, okay. All right, guys, you got me. You got me again.
Texas lassoed you and was like, come back, bitch. Like, I got you.
So I started doing comedy again, and that was going really good, and it was going so well that I said, okay, I'm going to quit my full-time job. I'm going to move back home, and I'm going to just start traveling to do comedy. Of course, that plane was shot straight to shit. But I lived in New Orleans, Houma, for 2 years. And my sister was recently diagnosed as epileptic.
Recently? And, wow.
Yeah, like, we grown. She's never had a seizure in her life, like, never. And she was diagnosed as epileptic. And so, when you have seizures, you can't drive for a certain amount of time after you have one. And then, she lives here by herself, and I didn't want her here by herself, like, dealing with this. And I was like, well, yeah, I'm moving. And where does she live? Houston. So I said, you know what, universe, I'm letting it ride. I'm whatever you want to do, bro.
Maybe I'm a Texan. Maybe I don't know.
I've accepted it, girl, because I hate it here. So I really, really do. I got my first and only DUI in this state, and it just been ruining the past 2 years of my life. Like, I just hate it here. I hate it here.
Houston's rough.
Toll tags. They make you go home at 2:00. I just don't like it. I don't like it.
So do you see yourself ending back up in NOLA? Like, do you want to move? You're just going to chill here because she's here?
Honestly, I'm literally just letting the creator have their way, because obviously it's not my choice and it never was.
Go with the flow.
That's it. I'm floating downstream at this point. It's like, whatever you want to do with me, that's for my greatest good. I'm with it. I'm not even going to fight no more. Like, if I wind up in New Orleans, whatever, nigga. Like, if I wind up in New Orleans again, fine, whatever. But I ain't looking for nothing. I have no plans anymore. Fuck plans.
It's a smart way to live.
It really is.
It's hard. I'm a Virgo. I can't even imagine what that is like for you.
I'm an Aries and we love plans.
That's true. Aries and Virgo are very like, they want to be the best, but in different ways. And like, they like plans, but in different ways. Like there's some alignment.
Exactly. My mother is a Virgo and I don't really like Virgos that much, Virgo women, typically.
I mean, we're annoying for sure. No offense to your mom. Your mom's probably great.
She all right, girl. She's okay. We've had our differences. Lord God. But yeah, it's just one of those things where I had plans. I was looking at it a certain way. Like I had high level plans as it pertains to comedy and none of them worked out. So I said, you know what? It's cool, bro. Whatever you want to do with me, I'm with it. I'm just trying to accept.
Well, the industry is also changing too. Like comedy clubs are not booking the people they should be booking. Going on the road is hard as shit. Like those things just really aren't it's like the comedy career has like changed for sure.
It definitely has. With social media and stuff, comedy clubs are booking people who got social media followers now. They want people who do numbers on Instagram and stuff. So, and if that's not you, you kind of stuck out. And I've seen those people on stage. And it's nothing against them because they could be very good at what they do, you know, with social media content, but they get on stage and they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah. But also people don't like, that's the other thing about the audiences is they're really interested in the novelty anyway. Yeah. Like they don't really realize that they're there for comedy. Like it's just a strange.
It is. And I think when they get to the show and they see the person on stage, and sometimes if they have like any sensibility whatsoever, they'll be like, oh, this isn't what I wanted this to be. Yeah. So no, this isn't that great. But and then they bomb, and then Instagram comedians, a lot of the times they bomb and then they turn on the crowd and stuff, and it gets
weird.
Yeah, and uncomfortable. And all the comedians, the stand-ups who are backstage, who had to open for this motherfucker and then the headliner just like,
that have like an hour of excellent material that they've been working on for years, and they're opening for a fucking Instagram model.
Right, and so we just sit back there like, yep. This is what they wanted, though. Yeah. They got paid more than us to do that. All right.
Follow your bliss. Their agent is making hella money.
Oh yeah. But it's definitely different. And but booking on the road, I think it can be a lot better than trying to, at least personally, for the type of person that I am, booking on the road and going to different cities where I know people and I know other comedians. I can usually book stuff on my own merit through other comedians, at least, if not through a club, because the club is not even going to touch me. But like other comedians, they're like, oh yeah, you're really good. So sure, come through. Festivals that I've done, I know people in networking. So festivals are where it's at now. Like there.
Yeah, it definitely has moved from like, if you want to see like actual good comedy, just go to a fest. Because if you go to a club, it's going to be, you know, I mean, not stuff that I would be interested in, but
it's gonna be the same. Like Bill Engvall, you know, nothing against Bill Engvall, whom I think is very funny, and Ron White, but it's gonna be that. Yeah. And if you don't fit into that, or if you're not Chris D'Elia.
Woo! Do we want to get into that? Because I was not surprised.
Well, girl, this is the thing. Chris D'Elia, I've never followed this person's career anyway. I look at him and I'm already like, yeah, he's not funny. Like it was just and I hate to say that because I've never really even watched his stand-up. I just look at him and see the type of person he is, and I'm like, no, that's the comedy club who thinks he's really funny and everybody like sucks his dick, but he's just like, I guess, a little bit more attractive than the rest of them.
Yeah. That's all. He's just like a hot, silly dude that everyone like, that every, you know, this weird breed of like truck stop millennial who's like still like, does that make sense? And they're like, I want to be that guy. I'm really funny. Like that's who I think is into Chris D'Elia.
Exactly. And turns out you're not.
Even Chris D'Elia isn't as funny as you think he is. Like you're definitely not that funny.
Right. And so I guess I can't say that I was shocked, but I didn't really see it coming, especially after watching you. And I'm like, so he's exactly what his character was. Like, so
that's funny. I haven't seen you. I didn't even know he was in it.
I didn't even realize it was him. It wasn't until somebody, because that's how little I follow this person. Like it was just,
I
But he
cannot
basically
imagine being in like New York or LA in the time of cancel culture. It sounds awful. I would love to hear your thoughts on cancel culture. I feel like you have some insights around that.
well, I have a lot of people from like Dallas and other places who moved to New York and LA, and they say that it can be really tough to assert if you're not saying exactly the right thing.
Hmm.
But of course, this is oftentimes coming from what? Straight white men. so I can understand to a certain extent what they mean, because there are people who I think are funny, but they do say like stuff that pushes the limits.
Hmm.
And I know that people are really self-righteous right now about certain things. So I'm not saying that I understand the white male plight. I just know that coming from them is received a little differently than if I said it.
Yeah.
So, because if I said it, it might just, not be funny. They wouldn't laugh, but they would, wag a finger at me. But them white dudes, you're not funny, but also now you've offended people.
Yeah.
So but I don't know. Cancel culture is one of those things. People have every right to dislike what we say. They have every right to have an opinion about what we say. Also, being somebody who speaks publicly, we have to bear the understanding that we're responsible for everything that we say. And if you don't want to be held accountable for the shit you say, don't say it. It's really that simple. There's nothing that I say on stage that I won't not necessarily explain, but I'll answer to it, and I can speak to what I mean by it. I can tell you, it's nothing throwaway. I'm never going to say, "Oh, well, it was just a joke." No, I don't feel that way about it. But if you want to cop out with that, "Oh, it's just a joke. It's not that serious." So why the fuck did you say it if it's not? Like, why? So if you want to be lazy about it, if you want to cop out, you don't need to be doing it anyway. But at the same time, people really get in their feelings about stuff that we know is for humans' sake. Y'all get really, really triggered, is the word, by things that it's really coming from some asshole with a microphone telling jokes on stage. Not to minimize comedy in any regard, but certain times it is just some asshole that's saying stupid shit on stage. And we have to give people room because we're all gonna be. And to want to be just self-righteous about it and wanting to vilify people for jokes, when the problem is the world that we live in, not the jokes that we tell about the world that we live in. Like, you need to direct that energy towards something that actually matters. You don't want to hold your friends accountable for the racist shit that they say, but you come to heckle somebody on stage. You do not impress me. So it's just that. So I can see it from all sides, and where we're all a little bit wrong, but at the same time, people are focusing their energy on a completely wrong, because the whole world is fucked up. So it's one thing to vilify somebody and run them out of town on the rail over a tweet, but what are you doing in your real life about the same kind of shit? About your brother that then molested some girl or raped some girl under the rug. You said that she was a liar. You said this and this and that. But this dude tells a bad joke about date rape. Now you got a wild hair.
Yeah.
Just, it doesn't make sense. So that's how I feel about cancel culture. People are dramatic unnecessarily.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that speaks to like the two biggest problems is like, one, there's people who tell jokes that don't mean anything. You know what I mean? Like, they really aren't writing from a place of like critiquing culture. They're not real. They're just like writing jokes because they think it would be funny. And
Right.
not that that's not like, not that that's the wrong thing to do, but it's just like, I feel like we've evolved past that as like comedy culture has moved past that so much. Like, after all of these intense specials that are coming out, it's like, I don't even like hearing jokes that are dumb. Yeah, I get it.
My sister's a Sagittarius, so she's loud.
Ooh, my rising is Sagittarius.
That's all right, girl. It's no problem. That's Prince. He keeps opening the door, girl. He doesn't like closed doors.
This is good. Okay. Well, I'll start at the beginning of my thing. And then I'll do this so I know where to edit. And yeah, I think that speaks to the two problems with cancel culture, which are assholes that write jokes without thinking about it, because I feel like comedy has evolved past that point. And then also audience members that and this might be like a symptom of the guilt that people feel when they don't take action in their life, is that they really overcompensate when it's in a public space. And it's like, I love that you pointed out that there are people that are heckling in a comedy club that aren't calling that shit out in real life, because like, yeah, because if you were calling out shit in real life, you'd know better than to yell it drunkenly at a club or to like tweet it at 3 a.m., you know?
Right. You probably wouldn't care as much because you know it doesn't affect your actual life.
Yeah, like the response would be different.
Yeah, and it's and I think sometimes I'm really insensitive to the way people react to comedy because I'm a black woman. And being a black woman all my life, being a fat black woman with, you know, my nappy hair and all that other stuff, just having a life that I was always the butt of the joke. And here I am, I lived. Like, I'm fine. All it did was made me better at comedy. The only thing it did was made me better at being a comedian. So people who get so defensive about stuff like that, like, and again, this is me projecting my own experience on other people, which I know isn't right, but it's weak to me. It's like, bitch, grow up. Mm-hmm. Grow the fuck up. You'll live. Like, if I could deal with it at 11 years old, girl. Girl. Like, the whole comedy world was based on making fun of me. Like, I look at Comedy View, I look at, you know what I'm saying? I look at Def Comedy Jam, I look at black sitcoms. They're always making fun of the fat black chick. Always. Always. You dark skin, you nappy, blah, blah. Always. That was the butt of the joke. So for me to be able to say, well, that's them, and not let it affect me, y'all will get over it.
It's pretty insightful. I wonder how open to hearing that a bunch of 14-year-old white girls on Twitter are.
Like, girl, I wish you would just give these children a book on blackface. Like, have you ever heard of Vaudeville, Al Jolson? No. Sapphire, Amos and Andy. Girl, do you know anything? Read a goddamn book first before you just start, your thumbs start going nuts. Like, educate yourself. Mm-hmm.
So how do you write jokes? Is it scenarios from your life? Do you start with like a punchline? What does your joke writing situation look like?
That's an excellent question.
You just like manifest them out of thin air? Are you that genius?
The easiest, I don't even. The way that I've always thought is in the form of a joke. I've always gotten in trouble for the way that I reply to things.
Same. I've never heard that sentence before, but that resonates so much. I have always gotten in trouble for the way I reply.
Right. Like, the way I respond to anything always made somebody mad when I was younger. Like, it was always, you always got to be smart. You always got to be flip. My mother always used to say, you're just so flippant. And she would always talk about my tone being so dry. And people say that I was arrogant, girl, all kind of stuff. So just naturally, the way that I think has always been a joke. So a lot of the times I'm just responding to the world around me in a very honest way. Mm-hmm. So I think that's why it doesn't come off as preachy, because I'm really just honestly telling people how I respond to everything that I see.
Mm-hmm. And then you test it out on stage and see how it does.
Yeah. Yeah, and I used to write a lot. I mean, I'm starting to write a lot more now, but I used to write so much to where there are jokes that I've maybe done once. And you know, I have so much material because I'm, like I said, I'm always responding to something. And stuff is always happening, so I always have a response to something. Mm-hmm. Do you I will go up after a male comic and respond to his whole set and kill. Like, he was sexist, misogynist stuff. And I would the whole set would be me just responding to what he said and would kill. And so it's all, and I get jokes from that. And I'll be like, oh, I can write that down. I can make it. So yeah, it's always just a response thing.
Do you do a lot of crowd work?
I try not to.
Yeah.
I don't like talking to people.
Really?
No.
Oh, because it might open up a can of worms.
I learned when it came to hecklers that I had to learn how to deal with them because I'm always the type, I'll be mean.
Oh, and Aries being confrontational? I've never heard of it. I don't even know what you're talking about.
So I'll just be very mean and then I'll try to fight. I don't mind fighting either. So apparently the Aries shit, it checks out. So, but yeah, I do crowd work sometimes. Like I do like to interact with people on a certain level. I do, but I try not to do it too much because, people can kind of
Get excited.
And I've seen it happen too many times. Like, I'm not gonna let that happen to me. I can't. I cannot.
It gets dark.
It does. And I don't like to argue with people and then, like when you have that interaction with an audience member and it seems to be going okay, but then you leave it, but they don't want it to end.
Yes. I do a lot of crowd work and that'll happen where I'm like, okay, I got all the jokes out of this person I need to get out of. Now I'm going to start doing my set. And that person is like, oh, no.
Right, exactly. It's always that person that's like, but wait, I have more to say. I enjoyed that attention much too much. Come back.
That's funny.
And I'm very mean to those people because not only have you interrupted me, I no longer have respect for you because you're needy.
I love that. I am curious, do you make any other content besides stand-up?
I do. Every now and then I'll do like Instagram things. I have like.
Oh, I saw a rant of yours. You did it while you're driving, which I don't approve of, but it was still hilarious.
I do most things when I drive, but it's called Wailing on These Hoes, so I do that. Actually, that used to be a blog that I had where it was very satirical in nature, but I would have been canceled for the shit that I said. Like, it was very satirical, but I don't think anybody would have got, like, girl, the things that I said. There was this one, so it was called Wailing on These Hoes, and it was a blog. And then when I stopped doing that for a long time, so I started doing comedy. I was like, oh, I probably need internet content, so I revived it as just the videos. But it was basically the same thing. I've just toned it down a bit because I remember there was this one post that I did about how, Chris Brown doesn't need to hit hoes because I'm sure that there's a woman close to him in his life that would be happy to do it for him. But it's just, you don't have to hit bro. It's like, I'm sure you got a sister that don't mind running up. Like, you ain't got to hit that hoe, right? Like, it's just, so stuff like that would have gotten me, quote unquote, canceled. Not like I care, but, I've toned it down a bit. I have gotten better at satire. That's all.
That's a hard line to walk, the satire line. It can be rough. I used to have a satire blog too about feminism, and it just like at some point it just wasn't worth it to like be the person that I hated. Like, oh hey,
that part. Oh, such a little cuddle baby.
Ding, ding,
I hate people who have cats that love them. Prince just glares. He tries to look cute when he wants something, like when he wants snacks or when he wants to go outside. Please. And then when he gets back inside, bye, bitch. Just like, I got what I wanted. Don't speak to me. He's very
Hey, same.
He's very curt. I don't like it.
That's how I am. I'm like, feed me, and then I'm done.
Yeah, he doesn't cuddle. He doesn't like the pets too much. He's a biter. He doesn't bite hard, but he will definitely let you know. All right, bitch, stop.
I've had enough.
3 pets. All right, now you got 3 pets. Let's not pretend that we don't know what this is. So, chill out.
Ting Ting is like aggressively cuddly.
Oh,
she'll like stop my head.
A stray came into my house. I immediately named her Donut. I miss her dearly. She occupied our space in April and May, and never we saw from her again. I pray for her every day. But Prince, even though he hates us, he hates even more when we have other cats. So I could not keep her because he was so mean to Donut, and she was so sweet. She was just such a cuddly baby. All she wanted to do was just eat and cuddle, and I appreciated that. It's like, finally, a friend. And Prince just hissed at her, just all this. Like, ugh.
I think Prince might be an Aries.
Prince, I think he's a Sagittarius.
Oh, okay. Sagittarians like to fight too.
Yeah, they do. My sister, Lord have mercy. Don't even. but yeah, I think Prince is like either a Sag or a Scorpio. He's very possessive, but also emotionally unavailable, and we hate him for it.
Oh yeah, that's some Scorpio shit. The show. When is the last time you were on stage?
March 10th.
Wow. That's a long while. Are you going to go back out?
I agreed to do something on July 1st.
July 1st.
I don't know why I agreed to do it. I did Zoom stand-up. Have you done Zoom stand-up? I did that once, but have you done like a virtual stand-up show?
No, I've done a couple pods that are like funny in nature, but I haven't. What was it like? What was it like? Set up punchline, or was it conversational?
It was almost like a TED Talk with jokes, and I very much enjoyed it. And of course, it was all women from all across the country, and it was a lot of fun. All the comedians were really, really good, and you know, Dom the booker even told us that, you know, you can do stand up, but if you wanted to make it something like more conversational, whatever, you can. And so I just did kind of stand up, but it was very much like TED talking. But it was a lot of fun. It was way more fun than I thought it would be. I was very nervous. I really, really, really was. Like, I was just like, I don't.
That sounds so uncomfortable. Because I'm very uncomfortable with silence. Like, if there's not enough laughs or not enough chatter, I like lose my mind. And on a Zoom call, like, I cannot imagine.
Yeah, it was weird, but it was weird in a good way.
Like an apocalypse way. Like, there's like this, like the benefits of the apocalypse energy.
Exactly. And well, that's what I've been living since March, girl. And I always knew I would. I've been waiting for this to happen. But it was fun because even after the show was over, the comedian stayed and we did a comedy hang, like, you know, just like at like an actual show, like we did
like where you stay and have drinks and like hang out in the green room.
Right. And we did that. It was just like, oh, it's almost just like normal, except I don't have to be in the same room with anybody. I never want this to end. So yeah, it was a lot of fun, but I am interested in how this going back on stage is gonna go, because I don't want to listen to everybody's coronavirus jokes. I didn't tell any. I don't really want to hear that many. What can you say that hasn't been said? I mean, I'm very interested if there's any cleverness involved. Like, if I hear a really good coronavirus related joke, or, you know, just this pandemic joke, yeah, but it's not gonna be a lot of those. I don't think there are gonna be a lot of really clever coronavirus jokes coming out. You've seen all of them on the internet. Literally every meme that can be made has been made.
It's like, yeah, we've kind of knocked out the relatability part with like all of our online interactions. But I did a show Friday. I think I heard maybe 2 Corona jokes out of 5 comics. So wasn't that bad. The weirdest part's a small audience, in my opinion. But
yeah, and that
happens.
And I just, you know, always wonder how audiences, that's basically my main concern. How is the audience really going to react to us right now? Because are they going to be afraid to laugh or hesitant to laugh, or are they looking for something very specific right now? And if they don't get it, they're going to be turned off. Like, is it, especially not just with the pandemic. So you put the pandemic on top of this, you know, social unrest that has been added to it. But right now, the type of comedian that I am, I know in front of a certain audience I'm going to do really well, but a lot of people, they're not going to want to hear my jokes about how I'm very happy about white male suicide rates being up. Like, just, you know. Well,
most of them aren't, but everyone who's not a white male is like.
It's just, but even before this happened, some people were like, is that something to celebrate? Yes, the problem is taking care of itself, doll. But you know, so it just the type of person that I am. I'm somewhat antagonistic to a lot of audiences. So right now, I don't even know. Like
What
I'm
room
in
are
the
you doing? It's in Houston?
yeah, I think it's a secret group on July 1st.
Oh my gosh, I want to come hang. I'd love to see you.
Yeah, I think it's secret group. It's always secret group. I've barely
They're
I've
killing
barely
it.
done a show anywhere else. But yeah, it's Hump Night. I think that's a secret group show.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, girl, I don't know how I feel about it. I kind of don't want to do it, but I gotta
Are you
get back
scared
out
of the
there.
Rona, or are you scared of the audience, or?
Both a little bit. I'm more scared of the Rona than anything else, but you know, I haven't written as much. I'm really and actually doing that Zoom show. I wrote a lot of jokes. I just went out there and I just started talking, and I was like, oh, I should write that down. Like I should, take it. So I finally wrote things. I just, I'm nervous a little bit.
How exciting. I mean, after
Yeah.
that long, have you ever taken a break that long?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, so it's like, I mean, some people.
No, I haven't. Well, except when I first started in San Antonio, like I did it in 2011, and I didn't do it again until 2013. But since 2013, no,
Wow.
no, it is very interesting. But I've had, time to focus on other things and reorganize and reorient myself as far as what my long-term goals are. So that's been good. Like I've been very thankful for this time. I'm not mad at it at all.
Yeah, I've been really appreciating the time to like write and create. I mean, I took a break. I took a break from stand up for like a year. And then I went back on stage like a couple times, and then the apocalypse happened. And so it really threw me
It
off
just
my
boiled
shit.
into whatever. No, that's not.
I got to get you on stage now that I know you're in Houston. I'd love to have you.
Yeah, yeah. I'd love to be had.
Yeah.
Why did you stop doing stand-up comedy for like a year?
Well, one of the things was I was booking a lot, and that was kind of stressful, and I got a day job that was kind of stressful, and then I was doing podcasting. So I was just doing all this other stuff, and I couldn't really stay out very late. And then like I just had some drama with some people, and it just like the energy of like open mics is kind of like
It's a little bit draining sometimes. I
Yeah.
agree. You can kind of get the open mics and stuff.
Yeah. But I mean, being a booker, like I say I took a break, but I was still on my show. Like, like I was still doing stand up on my shows, but that's different than like going out and practicing. Right. And like, so then I wasn't really working on new material that much. So it was just a different vibe.
I noticed that Houston, there's a lot, y'all do a lot of late shows. And so that was.
I don't like it.
Yeah, it's a lot of late shows. And I like it, but at the same, because I'm a night person, but I do got to go to work. So it's just, it's like all the shows start like 10 o'clock at night. Like, girl, what kind of job do y'all have where y'all could be up late like this on a Tuesday evening? Like,
yeah, I just couldn't live that life. It's the lifestyle that's different. But also, like, I've been kind of realizing, like, we can really make our own fame in comedy now with all these online opportunities. So
yeah, and I'm trying. I'm trying very hard to be more proactive in the internet space. I started a satire magazine publication, if you will, a few years ago. Of course, it has been slow going, but I did start it, and I write something once every quarter, girl.
That's not bad. That's consistency.
Once a quarter. But that's something that I really want to focus more energy into, because it's something that's one of those things that I've always wanted to do with my life. Like what I'm building with that is pretty much the goal, but it's hard, to do something like that, to take on something like that while doing stand-up, while working a full-time job, while trying to, book the festivals and stuff, and while trying to book stuff out of town. Like it's just a lot.
Yeah. And it's that kind of work's draining. Anytime when you're just out and like we literally put ourselves and we're just like, here's myself. Like that's a very draining thing.
On our bodies. I mean, it would really be easier just to be a sex worker. At least that's a quick transaction, Sure, it does require a lot of, creative energy to pretend that you like a person for a certain amount of time. But at least it's straightforward,
And it's only one person, not a whole audience.
There you go. Well, you get them one at a time, so you don't really have to read the room. You just got to take in this one energy, respond to it, and we're done. I used to do sex work a little bit.
How was that?
It was weird. I used to phone bone dudes. I was completely freelance. It was just me being a whore. Girl, I was in my teens. I was being a whore on Yahoo Messenger in the chat room. And
I remember those days.
Like begging for the phone bone. And I was like, okay, well, I'll take money for it since you want it that bad.
I love that so much. Do you have any memories of that time? Like, what were you saying? Like, what were those conversations like?
They were very interesting. I learned a lot about men during that time. Like, I learned because I was really young. I had just started having sex maybe the year before I started doing this shit. Like, I was a late bloomer girl. So I'm just 19 years old, 18 on the internet, being nasty, just figuring it out. Apparently I have a talent for it. But it was just, I learned so much about what dudes are willing to tell a stranger.
That shit. What is that?
It's very, very interesting.
It's an intimacy thing. It's like there's something about I remember that. That's how I learned about sex.
They like that safe distance between me and this person who I may never talk to again.
Yeah.
Like they love that. And so they fill that gap with all of their shit. So it's just like I've heard about people's, psychological trauma to a certain extent. And at the time I was a psychology major, so I guess that helped. But the way that men really will talk to you about that actual trauma, it just okay.
Yeah. And that's one of the things about stigma with therapy is that people seek it out in sexual relationships because they don't know how else to be vulnerable.
And I just say parent instead of a stripper. At least the therapist has a degree. But I guess you want to see titties at the same time because that makes you, with men, everything is a power struggle. Everything. And so at that moment when now you're a sexual being, they feel like you have given up some of your power as a sexual identity in that moment. So they feel more comfortable letting their guard down because as a woman, they feel like I can see your tits. So now your guard is down too. This is an even playing field.
Little did you know, this is my final form.
Right? It's just like, I'm staring at your tits. Also, would you like to talk about my relationship with my mother?
Speaking of tits.
Speaking of tits, while we're on the subject of boobies. But yeah, it's just this weird power struggle thing that I wish men could get. I really wish they could just let that stupid shit go and just let women be the more powerful creatures that we are. I know it's scary.
It's scary. But lucky for them, we're empathetic and gentle most of the time.
Exactly.
So it's why not let us on top? There's nothing you can do about it.
You know this is what you want. You know this is what you want. You totally want to be downed. It's fine. Just admit it. Just let it happen. It's not anything to be ashamed of. All of your boyfriends are into it too. All of your homeboys, they want the same thing.
I could go on and on about all the dom shit going on Twitter with femdoms and findoms and all of this. It's there's a huge market for people that are submissive men that can't do it in real life and they do it on the internet instead.
And that's what I got. A lot of the phone stuff, that's what I got a lot. I definitely got a lot of dudes who wanted to be domed. And that's not, sexually, that's not my natural default setting. It really isn't, but I can do it very well. Even in comedy, white dudes always tell me how much I scare them. And I'm just like, I'm not trying to intimidate anybody. I'm 5'6" and I'm chubby. What's so?
Oh, you're 5'6".
I'm a petite woman, or I'm an average build woman. I'm very average.
Oh no, she knows big words. Ah.
Like there's literally nothing imposing up by my stature, but just because I'm intelligent enough to literally just speak my actual mind, and I don't apologize for shit, and I don't sugarcoat shit for nobody, all of a sudden I'm a terrifying black, and you know they want me to step on their neck with some stiletto boots. I don't.
Ooh,
That's
yeah. That's the other part is like, oh my gosh, we're coming up on an hour, but it's like, do you feel like your blackness is fetishized in that way?
Oh yes. Oh my, and I just, even in just like regular conversation with white dudes, and they feel like I don't pick up on it. It's like, yeah, I definitely know what's happening here.
Ew.
And they really come to me like it's very much that dom sub relationship to the mistress. Like it's very like I can taste it, but it's like they don't know that I'm hip to that. Like I know I know about this world. I understand it very well.
And you're nasty and get out of my face.
Right, it's like you got to pay me by the hour for that shit. Like if that's what you want, if that's what you want, sir. I mean, you can buy me some leathers and we can get into this. I'm not a leather wearing type of broad. I'm more into lace. But if the leather is what you want.
And you're paying me.
You know, if you want me in some 6-inch heels, well, first of all, you're buying them. Second of all, you will be paying me by the hour that I have to be in them.
This is steamy. Well, thanks for coming on Slow Your Body Show, and I would love, or Slow Your Body Pod. I want to have another sit down with you. I don't even feel like we covered everything that I want to ask you about. Let's get your pluggables so those that are listening can come follow you somewhere.
My pluggables, other than my anus, there is at DE_T on and Instagram. Again, that's Delta Echo _ T on IG and Twitter.
Yay!
That's me.
Cool. And we'll see you. This will be published before Hump Night, so maybe we'll see you Hump Night.
Hump Night at Secret Group on July 1st, I believe. What time is it? I think it's like 9 p.m. Everything is always so late.
Yeah, it's like 9 or 10.
I'm sure it is. They're always so late.
All the intellectuals that listen to this show may not be awake that late, but
right, because they have real jobs, engineering and things, and they have to be at 7.
Cool. Well, happy apocalypse, and I'll talk to you later.
Happy apocalypse.